வயலுக்குள்ளே நாத்து நடும் சின்ன பொண்ணு நானும் கொஞ்சம் ஏழையடி நடுவு கொஞ்சம் நெருக்கி நடு மாட்டு வண்டி ரெண்டங்கட்டி.
Agriculture, the mainstay of Indian economy, has witnessed numerous revolutions in the past 5 decades. The Green Revolution, with high-yielding varieties of wheat and rice. The Yellow Revolution with oil seeds. The White Revolution with milk. The Blue Revolution with fish and fish products. Though these revolutions augmented and diversified the food basket of the nation, they failed to cater to the needs of all segments of farming communities. This is evident in the steady increase in the number of Indian districts that fell into disadvantaged category, as identified by Planning Commission of India based on socio-economic parameters. Poverty, illiteracy and migration thrived in these districts, sealing the destinies of the small and marginal farming communities that lived there. Whether the much proclaimed growth of India is inclusive and has benefited its resource-poor farmers is indeed a question. The sprawling campus of Annamalai University in Chidambaram, Tamil Nadu, dating back to 1929, recalls its 8 decades of resplendence. Philanthropist Raja Sir Annamalai Chettiar had established it with the aim of serving the poor through education, which was later followed by his son, Dr. Raja Sir Muttaya Chettiar, and his grandson, the present Pro-Chancellor, Dr. M.A.M. Ramaswamy.
Being situated in the rural area, our founder Pro-Chancellors, especially Dr. Annamalai Chettiar and Dr. Muttaya Chettiar and the present Pro-Chancellor, because of their philanthropic attitude, they started this university in a rural-based situation to help the people in the most backward area to gain education. At the same time, the agriculture faculty and the Department of Agriculture, now at the leadership of Dr. Kathiresan, is doing the same job to help the poor people in this district of Kadalur through this project, and I am very happy and congratulate them because of their research effort in these last 15 years. They are able to gain this project to this university. It is not only a pride for the university, but also it's a boon for the poor people in and around this district.
Adhering to this noble mission, the Department of Agronomy has been engaged in imparting knowledge on agriculture to enthusiastic students and also researching on various modes of agricultural technologies. It has been studying and conducting experiments on climate-resilient farming systems to enhance the livelihood of small and marginal farmers for the past 15 years. These researchers validated that integrated farming systems were more profitable to the farmers than the traditional crop-intensive farming.
Agriculture has been so far revolving around rising crops mainly, and this sort of crop-based agriculture has been facing a lot of troubles, especially in the context of climate change and global warming, and frequently farmers face total crop failure due to flood or drought or any natural disaster. In this way, the agriculture based on crops alone may lead farmers into trouble very frequently, and accordingly this Department of Agronomy has been researching upon integrated farming systems which will be offering some sort of resilience to any sort of natural disaster and climate change.
Around the same time, the Indian Council of Agricultural Research, ICAR, dedicated to the research and regulation of agriculture in India, proposed to give impetus to agricultural innovations and technologies in order to tackle the problems faced by farmers. The outcome was NAIP, National Agricultural Innovation Project, funded by World Bank and Government of India. As a part of Component 3 of NAIP, which aims at sustainable rural livelihood security in the disadvantaged districts, Annamalai University, in association with Dhan Foundation and Farmers Training Centers, proposed to implement these farming system models in 4 disadvantaged districts of Tamil Nadu, namely Viluppuram, Nagapattinam, Kadalur and Thiruvannamalai. These 4 districts were later categorized into 3 clusters based on the agro-ecological conditions, namely wetland, rain-fed upland and coastal clusters. In wetland cluster, the components of rice, fish and poultry were integrated. In rain-fed upland cluster, the integration was done with goat and crop. Whereas in coastal cluster, the seaweed component was integrated. From each of these clusters, 100 farmers and 100 landless laborers, totaling 1,200 farmers and 1,200 landless laborers were chosen as development partners. Intense monsoons characterize wetland regions. Vast expanses of lush green paddy fields surround this fertile domain. But this verdant beauty was often short-lived. Recurrent floods used to destroy the crops and stifle the hopes of paddy farmers. Since wetlands had rice fields with standing water, it became an avenue to introduce the component of fish in this region. However, the innovative strategy was the induction of poultry along with fish directly in the paddy field. It was never an easy task to educate the farmers on this concept, as they had their own apprehensions about rearing poultry in the paddy field. Hence, spending time and effort to teach the farmers on integrated farming systems was given priority. Later, the farmers were provided with wired bird cages to be installed in the paddy field. Brooded chicks and fish fingerlings such as rohu, mrigal, katla and common carp were distributed to them to be released in the cages and trenches. 400 cages at the rate of 100 per district were given free of cost along with fish fingerlings, chicks and poultry feed for the first rearing in every cropping year. The project was designed meticulously. A cage with 20 birds each was installed per 5 cent of the paddy field, and fish trench to accommodate 100 fingerlings was dug in the same field. Since the cages were placed above the canopy, the bird droppings contributed to organic manure for the soil.
விவசாயத்துக்கு என்னன்னா இது போடுற இந்த தீவினே இந்த கோழிக்கு வைக்கிறங்க. இது போடுற அந்த சாணியை வந்து மீன் சாப்பிடுது. மீன் சாப்பிட்டு அந்த கொல்லியில் போய் உழவுகளா அந்த பயிருக்கெல்லாம் வந்து ஒரு காற்றோட்டம் அதிகமாகுது. ஆகலை முன்ன செஞ்சதை விட இப்போ கூட உற்பத்தி ஆகுது. எங்களுக்கு நெல் உற்பத்தி பூச்சி மருந்து அடிக்கிற வேலை மிச்சமாக இருக்குது. தீனி போகிற வேலை அந்த 5 சென்ட்டுக்கு எங்களுக்கு வேலை மிச்சம். அப்படின்னு கூட அது ஒரு 1000 ரூபாய் அளவுக்கு எங்களுக்கு மிச்சமாகுது.
Besides other rice management techniques, the farmers were also trained to brood chicks at their own homestead before releasing in cages. An elated Kaliyaperumal says that his income has multiplied many times after the setting up of poultry cages in paddy fields. He takes delight in visiting his field thrice a day and to feed the birds with his own hands.
42 நாள் ஆனதும் கோழியை வந்து நாங்கள் விலைக்கு விற்கிறோம். 2.5 கிலோ 2.25 கிலோ அளவுக்கு வருது. கிலோ வந்து மார்க்கெட்டுன்னா ரெண்டாவது விட நாங்கள் அந்த ரேட்டுக்கு வச்சு விற்கிறோம். 150லேருந்து 140 வரைக்கும் நாங்கள் ஒரு கோழினுடைய விலை ஆகி போகுதுங்க. எங்களுக்கு அந்த கோழி வாங்குகிற ரேட்டு வந்து 1500 ரூபாயிலே முடிஞ்சு போகுது. எங்களுக்கு ஒரு சீசனுக்கு 3 சீசன் அது கோழி நாங்கள் உற்பத்தி பண்ணுறோம். 3 சீசனுக்கு ஒரு சீசனுக்கு எங்களுக்கு 900 ரூபாய் கிடைக்குது. 3 சீசனுக்கு 37 2700 ரூபாய் எங்களுக்கு லாபம் கிடைக்குது. அப்புறம் அதில் நெல் மீன் உற்பத்தினால மீன் குஞ்சு விடுறோம். அந்த 3 அடி ஆழம் 1 மீட்டர் அகலத்தில் 20 அடி நீட்டு வச்சு மீன் குஞ்சு ஒரு 200 குஞ்சு அளவுக்கு விடுறோம். அதில் இப்போ போனது போக எங்களுக்கு ஒரு 50 கிலோ அளவுக்கு மீன் உற்பத்தி கிடைக்குது. ஒரு கிலோ 60 ரூபாய் மணிக்கு நாங்கள் விற்கிறோம். அதுலேயும் எங்களுக்கு வந்து கொஞ்சம் லாபம் கிடைக்குது. அதில் ஒரு 2000 அளவுக்கு எங்களுக்கு லாபம் கிடைக்குது.
Like Kaliya Perumal, Elangovan of Sathamangalam village takes his poultry birds for sale to the nearby outlet, established with the support of Annamalai University. These outlets were set up in each cluster to ensure that the farmers received fair market rates for their poultry. Parched, dry lands cover a significant section of Tamil Nadu's agricultural landscape. Farming in this region is mostly rain-fed. Delayed monsoons and scarcity of water often led to crop failure and perpetual poverty among the farmers. To address their plight, an innovative approach involving goats along with a crop of their choice, ranging from groundnut, millet, vegetables or flowers, was introduced in this region. 1,000 insured goats at 2 for each farmer were given and were insisted for grazing in the fields during off-season. This provided dual benefits. The excreta of goats served as organic manure for the soil, and the weeds in the field were eaten up by goats, which saved the time and effort required for manual weeding. Since goats reproduced within a short span of time, the farmers were also ensured of an additional source of income through their sale.
எங்களுக்கு 2 ஆடு கொடுத்தாங்க. அதனால் ஒரு ஆடு அப்போ சனையாக இருந்தது, ஒரு ஆடு சனை இல்லாமல் இருந்தது. அது இப்போ குட்டி போட்டு முன்னாடி ஒரு குட்டி போட்டிருந்தது, இப்போ 2 ஆடுமே குட்டி போட்டிருக்கு. அதனால் எங்களுக்கு ஆட்டுனால எல்லாம் லாபம் தான் கிடைக்கிது. வீட்டுக்கு கொல்லைக்கு உரமும் ஆகுது. அந்த உரத்தை வச்சு எதுவும் சாவடி காய்கறி பூத்தோட்டம் எல்லாம் போடுறோம். போட்டாலும் மறுபடியும் ஆடு இருக்க நம்மளுக்கு பொன்குட்டியாக போட்டால் கொஞ்சம் லாபம் தானே கிடைக்கும். அதுபோல் எங்களுக்கு இப்போ ஒரு 2 ஆடு கொடுத்ததில் இப்போ 4 ஆடு சேர்ந்துருக்கு.
The care with which these women farmers look after their goats is fascinating. They have even constructed small hovels for sheltering their goats during rains. Apart from this, other agronomic strategies for the crops chosen were imparted to the farmers for better yield. Tamil Nadu has a vibrant and extensive coastline where numerous communities reside and make a living through fishing. However, the practice of shrimp farming in backwaters by fishermen had resulted in disastrous consequences in these regions. To address this issue, the fisher folk were trained to cultivate seaweed used in agar and soft drink industries that provided them a direct source of income throughout the year. The harvested seaweeds were collected by Annamalai University to ensure the promotion of this enterprise on a larger scale.
முதல்ல சொல்லும்போது இது எப்படி செயல்படுத்த முடியுமா என்னங்கிறது எங்களுக்கு டவுட்டாக தான் இருந்துச்சு. அதன் பிறகு அவங்க ஒரு முறை வந்து இங்கே செஞ்சு காட்டினாங்க. அதை நாங்கள்லாம் நேரடியாக பார்த்துட்டு இருந்தோம். அதை எப்படி பராமரிக்கணும்னு அதையும் சொல்லி கொடுத்தாங்க. அது மாதிரி நாங்கள் பராமரித்தோம். 45 நாள் 50 நாளில் நல்ல ஒரு மகசூல் கிடைச்சிது. இப்போ குடும்ப வருமானம் மாதிரி ஏதாவது கொஞ்சம் கிடைக்கிது. அதனால் இது ஃப்ரீயாக எக்ஸ்ட்ரா வர்றது தானே. மீன் தொழிலுக்கு போனால் கிடைக்கும் கிடைக்காமல் இருக்கலாம். அதான் இதில் வந்து கன்ஃபார்மாக கிடைக்கணுங்கிறதும் ஒரு எங்களுக்கு உறுதியாக இருக்குது.
Besides farmers and fisher folk, the other social segment, namely the landless laborers of the selected districts, were initiated into income-generating activities such as vermicompost and mushroom cultivation, thus elevating their economic status significantly. Pursuing agriculture without water is unfeasible, but the sheer neglect of farmers in maintaining common water resources led to hazardous results. Water hyacinth that fills the water channels and ponds in many areas is a seemingly harmless and aesthetically appealing aquatic weed. But in reality, it is one of the major reasons for the blockage and rapid water loss of the channels that supply irrigation water for farming in the coastal belt. Annamalai University, through its agronomy department, discovered that the plant named Karpooravalli, which is renowned for its medicinal properties, could be employed to control the growth of water hyacinth.
Another method that is available for controlling this weed is called biological control, wherein we use the natural enemy which has co-evolved along with this plant in its original habitat, and we bring these insects or biocontrol agents, release them on the plant so that these insects feed on the plant and control them over a period of time. But these approaches are successful only when the water body is perennial. So what the Department of Agronomy in Annamalai University has come out is an innovative approach of integrating a product obtained from a normal homegrown plant called Coleus umbilicus, which is normally used by any common farmer or fisher folk for curing flu, fever, cold, etc., which is accepted by the human body. And when we take out a dry leaf powder of this Coleus umbilicus and leave it in the water containing the plant, you can see this plant is treated and this plant is an untreated control. Within 5 hours, the electrolytes inside this plant leaks out and the plant subsequently dies within a couple of days. But we thought that we can reduce the load of this plant material if we can spray that on the leaf. When we tried spraying that on the leaf, because of the cuticular barrier, the spray was repelled out and there was no absorption inside the plant material. And finally, we arrived at another innovative approach of integrating both. We released the insect agent first on the plant, they scrape the leaf and remove the cuticular barrier. Thereafter, we sprayed this plant material at 15% concentration. That was very effective in controlling and suppressing this weed within one single season, which would be implemented through the NAIP project. We will ask all our wetland cluster farmers and dryland cluster farmers to grow this plant in their households in small area, produce the dry leaf powder, and we are rearing the insect agents here. We will supply them the insects, we will ask them to release in the water body, and then subsequently spray this plant material so that this water hyacinth is controlled in all the watersheds available in these 12 clusters.
The integrated farming systems introduced by Annamalai University have also attracted international attention. The International Rice Research Institute, IRRI, Philippines, is collaborating with the Agronomy Department of Annamalai University in screening submergence-tolerant rice in the flood-prone districts of Tamil Nadu. Sundaravelu, a small farmer who offered his land for its experimentation, is now reaping benefits out of this trial.
இந்த புதிய ரகங்கள்லாம் வந்து வெளிநாட்டிலேருந்து கொண்டு வந்தாயிட்டோம், இதை போட்டு நம்ம பழகி வச்சோம்னா எப்படி இருக்கும் என்னன்னு பார்க்கலான்னு கேட்டதுனால நான் என் வயலில் நானே மனம் வந்து கொடுத்து அந்த நெல் உற்பத்தி பண்ணி இப்போ வச்சுருக்கிறேன். இப்போ வச்சுருக்கிறப்ப நம்ம நார்மலாக வச்சுருது CR1009 பிபிடி வச்சுருக்கோம். அதை விட சொர்ணா சப் ஒன்றும் CR1000 சப் ஒன்றும் நல்லாவே இருக்குது. இப்போ சப் ஒன் ஐட்டங்க பூரா நல்லாவே வந்திருக்கு. நமக்கு இந்த மழையிலையும் இந்த வெள்ளத்திலையும் பாதிச்சு கூட அது வருது.
In order to ensure the sustainability of these farming systems, it was imperative that the farmers stayed united. Hence, they were mobilized into commodity interest groups. Be it the poultry, fish or seaweed, the farmers were taught to save the income from these ventures in their banks to be utilized in the consecutive seasons, thus releasing them from the clutches of the money lenders. Change starts with ideas, and when ideas become reality, they transform lives. Through rigorous training and implementation of the climate-resilient farming systems implemented by Annamalai University, the livelihoods of thousands of small and marginal farmers from the 3 clusters have been enhanced drastically. It has altered the archaic systems of cultivation hitherto followed by them and has opened up new vistas of development. Today, their livelihood and dietary standards have improved, and so have their sense of unity and self-esteem.